Hello, hi, welcome to Study Clinic. In this episode, we are going to study about a poem from class 7, The Gymnastic Clock, which was written by MC Davies. So, dear learners, before getting into the poem, you have one small activity in page number 16. Did you get? Good. So, I will read one text for you. You have to fill the blank over there in your textbook. Are you ready? So, here is the text. You have to listen carefully and you have to fill the blanks. So, here comes the text. The spider game. The little spider crawled down the wall by using its web so it wouldn't fall, crawled to the bottom and back up again, then thought to himself, what a fine game. So he called his friends to join the game, and they played all day till night time came, and when they had finished, they went off to bed and left all the wall covered over in web. I hope you have completed the task, right? I think you have listened the text carefully and you have filled the blanks. Okay. Now let's read the poem The Gymnastic Clock, which was written by MC Davies. You have to observe your textbook carefully. Are you ready? So here is the poem. The Gymnastic Clock. The little clock is friends with me. It talks as plain can be, and says each morning as it raises, now don't forget your exercises. Both hands above your head, you know, then lower them very slowly so. Oh, don't get tired and stop that way. I exercise like this all day. Right in its face, then I say, poor. I wouldn't boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too, and so the clock then looks at me. And I look back, and I and he, each single morning when we rise, just exercise and exercise. So that was the poem reading for you. I hope you have followed the text in your textbook. Okay. Now let's try to sing the poem. Are you ready? Please join with me. So here is the poem for you.
The gymnastic clock. The little clock is friends with me. It talks as plain can be, and says each morning as it raises, now don't forget your exercises. Both hands above your head, then lower them very slowly so. Oh, don't get tired and stop that way. I exercise like this all day. Right in its face, then I say, poor. I wouldn't boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too. And so the clock then looks at me, and I look back, and I and he. Each single morning when we rise, just exercise and exercise.
I'll repeat.
The gymnastic clock. The little clock is friends with me. It talks as plain can be, and says each morning as it raises, now don't forget your exercises. Both hands above your head, then lower them very slowly so. Oh, don't get tired and stop that way. I exercise like this all day. Right in its face, then I say, poor. I wouldn't boast of it like you, but I can swing my arms round too. And so the clock then looks at me, and I look back, and I and he. Each single morning when we rise, just exercise and exercise.
Dear learner, how was the poem? Super, right? Okay. Now let's understand the poem. So in this poem, the poet is friend with his clock, and his clock speaks with him. Okay? The clock each morning says with the poet, to exercise because the clock exercises every day, every morning, all day, right? It doesn't stop, right? It swings his arm round all day. So it suggests the poet to do the exercise every day, every morning, so that he can be very fit, he can be very healthy, right? So that's why this poem is called as Gymnastic Clock, because the clock does exercise every day. You know the gymnastic game? There, the athlete is very agile, very quick, very athletic, does all the jumps and all the somersault. So, here the clock does every exercise. So, the poem is called as the Gymnastic Clock. The clock says with the poet that he should swing his arms round like the clock does and don't stop easily. Don't get tired so early. And the poet, in reply to clock, says that he can also do the exercise like the clock, but he don't boast of it. Okay, boast means to have excessive pride of his capacity or his achievements. And each morning, when the poet looks at his clock, he remembers his exercises. Dear learner, now you have comprehension questions C1, C2 and C3. Try to answer those questions by yourself. And if you still not able to find the answers, please find the answers in the description below. Dear learner, have you observed the poem carefully? You have one special style of writing in this poem. That is, the clock speaks with the poet, right? Clock usually doesn't speak. So the speaking is the character of human being, right? So in this poem, the poet speaks with his clock. So the poet treats his clock as human being, right? He gives the quality of human being to the clock. So this style or this figure of speech is known as personification. In many poems, you could see this feature or this style of writing. So personification means making a thing, an idea or an animal to behave like the human beings do. For example, wind ails while blowing. So ailing means the quality of a human being. We apply that quality to the wind. So that is called as personification. For example, the cloud smiled at me. So smiling is the quality of human being. So we apply that quality to the cloud. So that is called as personification. Or the moon was very sad that day. That night. So sad. So that is also personification. I hope now you have understood what personification means. Okay, now try to find out the personification in any other poems you read. Okay? And now, homework time. Dear learner, in page number 19, you have one simple homework. One box is already given. So you have to find the rhyming words for that words in the box. Very simple one. With this, I conclude today's episode. Hope you have enjoyed the poem. Please like, share and subscribe our channel for more lessons. So with this is Sunil signing off from Study Clinic. Bye.